So, okay, fine. Who is asking this question? Who are you? Yes. Right. So, vectors are all about visualization. You should be able to visualize. Two things are important for vectors. One is visualization. You have to visualize the things in 3 dimensions. Number two, how to take the components is very, very crucial part. If you know how to take the components, then many problems of vectors we can do easily. So let us focus on these two things properly. Let us say here I have drawn this y-axis and this is x-axis. And I have taken two vectors. One vector is r1, another vector is r2. Sum of these two vectors is this r. I think I have explained before that if I go from O to A and I go from A to B, indirectly it means that I am going from O to OA plus AB equals OB. So it means we are going. Who is that? We are going up to B. Next, this is what are the coordinates of A? A has coordinates x1 and y1. Then I can write the r1 value. I can write as x1 I cap plus y1 j cap. What I can write r2 as? R2 I can write as x2 I cap and y2 j cap. So what will be the resultant vector? If I have to add r1 with r2, all I need to do is I have to take I cap components separately and j cap components separately. Then after that, resultant will be just nothing but x component square plus y component square and whole under the root. So we can take it easily, root of sum of the squares of the components, right? Next, general rule to add any number of vectors. This will be the general rule. This I have written, just explained again. We have to resolve the vector into xyz components. And what we have to do next?
Keep that page, sir. We are writing.
Okay, right. In fact, do one thing, because today, can you write it afterwards? You just pay attention only on listening. Maybe if you can do that, then I think I can do it fast, because I want to cover more things today. Can you write afterwards? Okay, I will send it to you.
Okay,
I will send in the Google Classroom. I will send. So if you are still means you need for yourself now only, then you can do one thing. You can keep taking these screenshots. Okay, you can keep doing that.
Okay, sir.
Next, we have step 1. Resolve the vector into xyz components. That is one thing. Second step, find x component of resultant vector by adding x components of all vectors which are to be added. Similarly, we can obtain y and z components. So in general, I can say like this. If I have a vector r which is resultant of individual vectors a1, a2, a3 or ai vector, then I can write sigma ai as the resultant, which will be written further in terms of components aix, aiy and aiz. What does aix represent here? I am assuming that we have not 1 or 2, we have large number of n number of vectors. So aix represents x component of which vector? Ith vector. X component of ith vector. Similarly, what is aiy? Y component of ith vector. aiz, z component of ith vector. If I have to sum this all up, then I can separately sum each component separately. X component separately, y separately, z separately, I, j and k cap can be written with them. Then what will be the resultant? Once I got my components, total components, resultant will be again same way. Net x component square plus net y component square plus net z component square and whole under the root. That will be the resultant. That point is clear? Any doubt so far? Any doubt so far?
No, sir.
Very good.
No, sir.
Then we have direction cosines.
Sir, this is for addition, no, sir?
This is for vector addition. When we have to add
Yes,
many, let me give one example. For example, if I have a vector a1, another vector a2, third vector a3, fourth vector a4, there could be large number of vectors and I have to add all these up. Then I will do this thing. What I will need to do first? First, I need to know the components of each vector. If somebody has already given me, sometimes the examiner himself gives in terms of components. If the examiner himself gives in terms of components, then no need to worry. We will just write vectors the way he has given, and we will start adding those up. Okay. But if he has given in diagram, then in diagram, he must have given some angles, what angles it is making with x-axis. So that must be specified. What he must give, what examiner must give before asking this question. Either he should give me vectors already in terms of components. For example, he may give like this, that A1 vector is, somebody is making noise again.
I muted him, sir.
Let us say A1 is 2i cap plus 3j cap, and A2 is maybe 4k cap, and A3 is maybe k cap plus I cap. If these are the vectors, if he has given in this way, then we will simply add them. What will be the net I cap component? One I cap is here, one I cap is one I cap and two I cap. So net I cap component is 3i cap. So what I will do? I will say that the resultant vector will become 3i cap plus what is the j cap component? Let us check. One j cap component here and nowhere else. So I will say plus
3j cap.
3j cap. And what about k cap? 5k cap.
5k cap.
Then I know now this is the resultant vector. After that, I have to apply the formula for the calculating magnitude. We have discussed in the last class, magnitude we calculate by this formula. X square plus y square plus z square whole under the root. So then we can get what is the resultant magnitude. Magnitude will become 3 square 9, 9 plus 9, 18.
43,
plus
square root of 43.
Yes, square root of 43. This is what we will do. So this method we can use only if examiner himself gives us vectors in such a way. But if examiner gives vectors in the diagram, or if he gives in the diagrams, he should specify what angles these vectors are making with x, y, and z axis. That every angle should be given. Let us say he has done that part. Let us say a vector A is making angle alpha, beta, gamma with x, y, and z axis respectively. Normally we take alpha, beta, and gamma for x, y, and z axis. Then I can say ax divided by a will be equal to cos alpha. Ay divided by a will be equal to cos beta, and az divided by a will be equal to cos gamma. This point is clear or not? I can make it clear here in this diagram. Notice this. Okay, first of all, let us try to visualize this. What is this diagram representing? I have tried to make as far as possible 3D diagram, but actually this plane is 2D only. So obviously exact 3D diagrams we can never make. That we have to imagine. So let us say you are standing in some place here. You are standing here, and there's a box lying at corner of one room. Imagine this is a box lying at corner of one room, and you are standing here. Here we are looking at it. So while you are looking at it, this yellow wall is in your front. This other yellow wall is in your left, and you are standing on one floor. Can you imagine all this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this green surface is horizontal. This green surface which I have represented, this one is horizontal surface. So x-axis is which axis? Horizontal axis. Z-axis is which axis? It is also horizontal axis. What does this total plane xz represent? This plane represents horizontal plane. That point is clear?
Yes, sir.
Similarly,
Yes,
how
sir.
many vertical planes you see? 2 vertical planes. Yellow, this one is vertical by the front wall, and this one is vertical because of the left wall. These two walls are vertical. Okay. And there's a box lying in front of you, which you can see. It is lying at one corner of the room. I have drawn only 3 walls. I am not drawing the walls which are here towards your right. I have not drawn the wall which is towards your back. That I'm not drawing. Okay. This is enough. Now there is a in the box body diagonal. OP is the body diagonal in the box. This OP body diagonal is actually representing vector A. What is it representing? This OP body diagonal is representing the vector A. I want to take the components of A. How to take the components of A? If I want to take the components of A, then you observe its tip. This is the tip of it, P. At this tip, I will take one plane parallel to left wall and one plane parallel to horizontal floor, and one plane from this tip I will take which is parallel to the front wall. These 3 planes I will take. Where these planes are cutting the corresponding axis, those will be the representing the components. So where this plane is cutting the x-axis, it is cutting at capital X. So what is its x component then? Ax is its x component. What is its y component? Similarly, this plane, if I am taking, and it is cutting the y-axis. If I take this plane, it is cutting y-axis. So this O to y distance, this is the y component. What is the z component? O to z similarly is the z component. So these three will be the components. As I think yesterday I have discussed a little bit that if I have a body diagonal in a room, then the three sides of the room will be representing the components. That point I have made yesterday also. You know this or not? These three sides are the components, and body diagonal is the total vector.
No, sir. No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, whether I said or not, now you listen at least. Net, this is the diagonal vector. Diagonal is the total vector, and the components are the sides. Is it okay? Now it
Yes,
is
sir.
clear? Right.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Now, what would be the side length? Can I determine this side length or not? Observe now, this body diagonal. If I join with this line and this is a right angled triangle or not? Is it a right angled triangle or not?
Yes, sir. It is right angle triangle.
It is right angle triangle. If you think why is it, if you are not able to understand why it is right angle triangle, I told you green surfaces are horizontal. I have made this upper face green because it is also horizontal surface. And y-axis is vertical. Y-axis is vertical axis. So vertical line will be perpendicular to horizontal surface or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It means, what does it tell us? It tells us that if I take this vertical line y-axis and this horizontal surface, and I draw all the lines, if I draw from y, passing from y, then all those lines will be actually horizontal. And if all those lines are horizontal, then all those lines will be making what angle with y-axis?
90
90
degrees.
degrees, sir.
So in two dimension, there is one possibility. If I have a line, I can draw perpendicular to it only in one way. But in 3 dimension, I can draw infinite perpendiculars to a given line. To y-axis, how many perpendiculars I can draw in 3 dimension? I can draw infinite from a single point also. I can draw infinite perpendiculars. All these are perpendicular to y-axis, and at the same point, these are perpendicular to y-axis. All these are perpendicular to y-axis at the same point, because all these vectors are lying in horizontal. Is it okay? Understood?
Yes, sir.
Right. So these points we have to note down. All lines drawn on the right and left vertical walls, which are represented by XAPC and OYBZ, which pass through the x-axis, are perpendicular to x-axis. If I draw many lines passing through x-axis, in which planes I am drawing? I am drawing on which planes? On the right and the left vertical walls. Then all the lines which I have drawn on those, if they pass through x-axis, then they will be also perpendicular to x-axis. For example, this is a right vertical wall on the box. Then if I draw as many lines passing through x, then all these lines which are passing through x-axis, these are all also perpendicular to x-axis. Is that point clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, because this wall is vertical and the x-axis is horizontal. So this horizontal axis is perpendicular to all the lines on this vertical wall if they are passing through x-axis, right? This point is clear. Then you have understood mostly everything now. Nothing is left. Now you know there will be right angled triangles. Let me tell you which right angled triangles we have here. Right angled triangles. One triangle is OYP. This is one triangle. Second triangle is OXP, and the third triangle is OZP. And these are at right angle at which places? First right angle triangle OYP, triangle OYP, triangle OXP, triangle OZP. First triangle is right angled at
Y.
angle
Y-axis.
Y is 90 degree, and here angle X
X
is
equals to
90 degree,
Angle
and
Z
in
is
last
equal to
angle Z
equal
is
to
equal to
90
90.
degrees.
And you know, in all of these, OP is hypotenuse. OP is hypotenuse, right or not? Because
Yes,
we
sir.
know body diagonal will always be largest
Well,
side as compared to all
Body
other
triangle is the longest side.
longest. So it has to be hypotenuse only. It is the hypotenuse. If it is the hypotenuse, then in right angle triangle, if I know hypotenuse and I know one side or the angle between the hypotenuse and that side, then I can get the side. Here angles are given to me. Alpha angle given with x-axis, beta angle given with y-axis, and gamma angle given with z-axis. If I know the angles, then I can write these formulae. Which formula I can write? Ax upon A will be cos alpha, where A is nothing but A is the length of the vector, and Ax is nothing but Ox. So I can write now, I hope you are understanding why I am writing Ax upon A as cos alpha.
Yes, sir.
Similarly, y I can write Oy upon A. Oy upon OP. What is Oy upon OP also? Oy upon OP will be cos, say what it is.
Cos beta.
Exactly,
Cos
cos beta.
beta, sir.
And what will be Oz upon OP in the similar fashion?
Cos
Cos
gamma.
gamma.
Cos gamma.
Cos gamma.
So OX upon OP is cos alpha.
Cos
Right.
alpha.
So you understood now. And this OX is also here, nothing but AX. OX is AX. OY is AY and OZ is AZ and OP is equal to A. Right. Next, come to visualization part. This just I thought maybe I should focus on your visualization properly. This is our horizontal plane. This green plane is horizontal plane. It is XZ plane. In this plane, if I draw a line OA, OB, and OC, all these lines are perpendicular to y-axis, perpendicular to y-axis, perpendicular to y-axis. I already discussed before, but here I am explaining again to make it further clear. And when we draw a circle in XZ plane, remember, this is a circle. It is not a ellipse. Looks like ellipse or not?
Yes, sir.
It looks
Yes,
like
sir.
ellipse, but
It
while
looks
we
like-
look at it, it is looking like ellipse because we are looking at it obliquely at some angle. Circle drawn on horizontal XZ plane appears elliptical when seen obliquely. If I look from the top, let us say I go here and I start looking towards downside. If I take top view, then it will look exactly like a circle to me. But if I'm looking from this side, I'm standing here and this circle is on this and my eyesight is now, the eye rays are falling on my eyes obliquely, not perpendicularly from this. So then it will be, circle will appear to me to be a little bit elliptical. Now observe this one here. This I have drawn east-west axis. This is north-south. This is up-down. I think if you have seen Atlas, in Atlas they will draw like this. They will say north up, south down, east one side, west other side. But don't forget that they do that because they are drawing just two-dimensional directions and they are not drawing up and down in this. Okay, they are just drawing two-dimensional directions. It means it is like we are looking from top view. If I look from the top view, then I will see only north, south, and east, west. Okay, what is the angle between north, south, and east, west directions? 90 degrees.
90
So we-
degrees.
All 90, sir.
East, west is our x-axis, north, south is our z-axis, and up and down is our y-axis. We can think in that. Okay,
Okay,
right.
sir.
Now, next, if I draw a square, on a horizontal xz plane, it will appear like parallelogram. It will appear like a parallelogram. How do I
Sir,
know it is
also
this?
equal, then it is known as rhombus. No.
Yes, right. I should have written rhombus, right? It looks like a rhombus to me. It looks like a rhombus, correct only. Fine. But okay, means my main motive is to tell you that, okay, fine. If you want, I can correct it also. Although here main motive was to visualize. If you are able to visualize, that is fine. Just, okay, let me make it rhombus. Yes, now it is fine, rhombus. Okay, now, but why do I know that it is a square? Reason is, this CD line is parallel to which axis? Z axis.
Correct.
And BC line is
Yes,
parallel
sir.
to which axis?
X-axis.
X-axis.
Exact.
But what is the angle between X and Z axis? I know this is 90 degrees. Therefore, angle between these two lines also must be 90
90
degrees.
degrees.
So this is also 90, this is also 90, this is also 90. All these are 90-degree angles, but we are looking obliquely. So these appear like rhombus to us. Now I'm making a top view, bird's eye view. If a bird is flying up from the top and he's looking at a horizontal surface below, how he will see? The bird will see the circle to be exactly circle. And the bird will see the north-south direction, east-west directions like this. This is top view or the bird eyes view. So when we don't want to draw a three-dimensional diagram, if you want to draw just 2D diagram, then that will be enough for us. We can draw 2D diagram that will be making a circle look like circle only. And in this case, you notice I have made a small dot here. This dot represents something. What does it represent? It represents pointing towards us. What is pointing towards us? There is a little y-axis here pointing towards us. This y-axis is
Coming
coming.
out.
The arrow will be towards us, sir.
Yes, arrow will be towards us perpendicularly out of plane. Perpendicularly out of plane of paper. We are making this diagram on paper, so I will say it is perpendicularly out of the plane of paper. Okay, that is this dot representing. What does cross represent? This cross represents going away from us, perpendicularly into the plane. It is going
We are
perpendicularly.
discussing now about the y-axis, huh?
Yes, we are discussing about y-axis. How y-axis look like to us? This
Sir,
y-axis looks like
యాంటీ క్లాక్ వైజ్ డైరెక్షన్ ఉండాలి కదా సార్ అప్పుడు
what?
సర్కిల్ లో యాంటీ క్లాక్ వైజ్ డైరెక్షన్ ఉండాలి కదా సార్ అప్పుడే Dot
Please. Actually, I'm sorry. I would like to understand Telugu, but I'm not able to understand that much. So, can you say it in English? I think you are saying that is it
Sir,
anti-clockwise?
ఎస్ సార్
It is. See that direction. I'm not telling this is that I will come to that. Anti-clockwise direction is represented by dot, and clockwise direction is represented by cross. You are right. But here,
ఎస్ సార్
this dot is just representing only one thing, that y-axis, arrow of y-axis is coming toward us. If I look, okay, see this thing here. Let us say this is the bird flying on the sky, in the sky. How the bird will look at towards arrow? Arrow is coming towards the bird or not?
ఎస్ సార్
So arrow is coming towards the bird. Then for this bird, it will look like a dot. You think in
Yes,
this
sir.
way. For this bird, it will look like. Have you seen a game of darts in which there will be some? We have to aim at something, and there's a
Okay,
dart.
Minus
here.
y-axis is away now, sir.
ఎస్
Yes,
సార్
sir. We know. I know about that, sir.
You know that,
ఎస్ సార్
right? So in this way, if you are looking at this arrow, let us say you are looking at this arrow, and if you are standing this side, then arrow is coming towards you or not?
ఎస్ సార్
If it is coming towards you, what you see a dot, pinpoint of that arrow. You see that dot coming towards you, this pointed edge. But now if you are looking from back side, then what you see? Then you see
Cross,
that
sir.
cross. That cross is going away from you. So that is how we say the cross means going away from us, and dot means coming right towards us. Understood?
Sir, but minus
sir.
y-axis is away now, sir.
Minus y-axis is away, but when we say y-axis is this dot, then what does it mean? If I say this is the direction of x-axis, then I don't need to say that this is the direction of positive x-axis. It is understood if I'm saying x-axis is towards right, it means positive x-axis is towards right. Similarly, if I'm saying y-axis is upside, it means positive y-axis is upside. Similarly, if I say this is y-axis is towards dot side, it means the positive y-axis is towards dot side. That is what it means. Okay. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Right. So similarly, the square will look like a square if you look from the top. Then I have made another diagram. How to make a square? If I have to make a square in YZ plane, again it will look like rhombus. Here I have again written parallelogram. I hope you understand. I'm not changing it now. Let it be parallelogram, but it is looking like rhombus. This one, shapes drawn on XY plane are not distorted. Now, when we draw, if you want to draw 3D diagram of something, then if you want to draw a circle in XY plane, then you should represent it like a circle only. If you want to draw a circle in YXY plane, then you better draw it like a square. You draw like a square, and circle you draw like a circle only. Because where we are standing directly in front of wall, and this shape will not appear to us to be distorted. The shapes which are on side walls and the shapes which are on the floor, they will appear to be distorted. And we can think in another way also. Why this is not getting distorted? Observe the angle between XY as drawn in our axis. This angle is in reality also 90 degrees, and it is looking like also 90 degrees. So therefore, this one is also here 90 degrees only. Okay, this one is also 90 degrees only, and it is looking like also 90 degrees only. Okay, fine. Angle between two vectors. What do we say? What are the angles between two vectors? If I have a vector A and I have a vector B, then angle between those two vectors is, let us say, theta. It is actually the angle, here I am writing, read it. It equals angle, observe, this is important, between their tails or between their heads. If I connect one
Between
vector
their
with
tails.
another vector, if I connect one vector with another vector head to head, then that is also angle between the vectors. If I connect vectors tail to tail, then that angle between them will also be the angle between the vectors. But if I connect head and tail, then this angle will no more be angle between the vectors. Angle between vectors will now become pi minus the angle between head and tail. So what is the angle between two vectors? Either you connect properly tail to tail, head to head. But if in the diagram it is given connected in such a way, head to tail and head, then this angle will not be the angle between vectors. Here alpha is actually pi minus angle between vectors. So you should understand which is regarded as angle between vectors. Not any angle is angle between vectors. Only that angle which is representing the angle when they are connected in a proper way. What is meaning of proper way? Proper way means tail to tail or head to head. Then that angle which comes in between, that is called as angle between vectors. Addition of vectors. When we want to add vectors, what we need to do? We need to arrange the vectors. Let us say I'm going from normal common sense. Think in terms of displacement. If you are going from city A to city B, then city B to city C, then city C to D, then D to E. Effectively, from where to where you went? Effectively, you went from A to E. So what is the resultant then? Resultant, here I have written wrong. I don't know why I wrote ED. Resultant is, that we correct it.
A.
AE. Resultant is A. Okay. I can also represent like
Sir, your voice is not audible.
We cannot hear you, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I had lost the connection. Wait a second. I'm joining again. Right. Joined again. So where we were? I was telling you about polygon law of vector addition. Polygon law of vector addition means if vectors are represented by n minus 1 sides of a polygon taken in same order, then their resultant will be represented by nth side taken in opposite order. For example, this vector, this A, B, C, and D, how these are taken? These are taken all in anti-clockwise fashion. Then resultant will be represented by nth side, and which will be taken in opposite order. That will be the resultant of the remaining n. Yes, it is in clockwise direction. E is the resultant of A, B, C, D. Red color, this vector is resultant. Okay. E is actually equal to as A plus B plus C plus D. Okay. Similarly, parallelogram law of vector addition. What does parallelogram law represent? It represents if I take two sides. In this, only difference in polygon law and parallelogram law is that there will be just two sides in parallelogram law.
Sir, in the above polygon law, all the vectors are of same order, means same value will be there, sir.
No. Order is not same. You are completely misunderstanding order. Order
Then
means clockwise or anti-clockwise.
Oh, okay.
Or
Direction
order
in which
means
they are going,
direction
sir.
of arrow. Observe the direction
Okay,
of arrow.
sir. Okay, sir.
What is the direction of arrow? It is going in this way.
Anti-clockwise, yes, sir.
But resultant is going in opposite direction. Order is direction of arrow only. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, right.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, you said that while doing addition, they will give us I cap, j cap, and k cap of the vector.
Either there are two ways. Either they will give that, or they will make a drawing, or they will tell that two vectors are given A and B. They will give the values of magnitudes of these. A is equal to 4 unit, B is equal to maybe also 4 unit, and angle between them is given, let us say 60 degrees. And then they may ask again, what is the resultant? What I need to do? They have given angle or not? They have given. Have they given x-axis, y-axis? They have not given. But can I not make my own x-axis here? I will make x-axis this side and I will make y-axis this side. If I do that, then what will be A vector representing? Then A will be representing 4i cap.
4i cap.
What will be B vector representing now? Now, if you know how to take the components, you can quickly tell me what is B vector representing here. 4 cos 60 degrees along I cap
4 sin 60.
and 4 sin 60 degrees along J cap. So it is very easy. We can always convert into that form, provided angles are given. If angles are not given, then we cannot convert. But if angles are given, we can always follow
Sir,
that.
here 4 sin 60 is what, sir?
Sir, in polygon law, how to find angle between two vectors, sir?
They must give. Without giving, we have no way to find out. They must give.
What should I do, sir? What should we do, sir?
What should we do means? What do you mean by what should we do? This is not the question that they are asking to find out the resultant without giving the magnitudes. What you should do here, you should simply know that if this, then this is the resultant. That is what you should know. It is not a question where you have to really find out the value of E.
Sir, I am asking the angle between two vectors, sir.
Angle between two
Polygon.
vectors also, they will specify. Without these, we cannot get the answer. They should specify the angle. If I give you the angles, then we can resolve into components always. We can always resolve into components. What angles I can give you? Maybe I can give you these angles. Maybe I can give you this angle as theta 2. This angle I can give as theta 3. This angle I can give as theta 4. And angle of A, I will take as reference. This is already making what angle with x-axis? Let us say it is along x-axis. So it is making 0 angle here. So once these angles are given, theta 1, theta 2, theta 3, theta 4, etc., can't I resolve into components? What will be the vector B represented as now? B vector will become, if I take this axis as x-axis, Then B will become
cos theta to sin theta to.
cos theta 2 along I cap and sin theta 2 along j cap.
JK.
Similarly, C cos theta 3 along I cap and sin theta 3 along j cap. Similarly, D cos theta 3 theta 4 along I cap, and but provided all these angles are with respect to same line, with respect to same x-axis only. Then we can determine
resultant, sir.
what?
Can we write components for resultant?
Definitely we can write for resultant also. In fact, what? Okay, wait a second. Let me go back again. When we wrote the resultant here, what was this representing? And what was this representing? And what was this representing? This was Rx, this was Ry, and this was Rz. So it is Rx I cap, Ry j cap, and Rz k cap. These are the components of the resultant only. After summing up, what we get, that we get as the component of the resultant only. Here also I explained here. See it here. What is this 3 representing? 3 I cap plus 3 j cap plus 5 k cap. 3 is the component of the resultant, x component of the resultant. Second 3 is y component of the resultant, and the fifth one is this. The 5 is 5 k cap is that is z component of the resultant. If it is a vector, that will have components, whether it is resultant vector or the vector which is to be added. That doesn't matter. Okay. Is that fine?
Yes.
Right. So where we were. So main thing is, okay, let me tell you why we are discussing this, although it is such a simple thing. Some students commit such mistakes that you should not commit. This they will say as vector A, this they will say as vector B, and they will say this is vector resultant A plus B. Is it the student doing right or he is doing wrong? Tell me.
Wrong, sir.
He is doing wrong because A and B are connected head to head. How they should be connected, how the vectors should be connected. They should be connected head of one to the tail of second, then head of second to the tail of third, then head of third to the tail of fourth. This will keep on happening till the last vector. If there are n vectors, then same thing will keep on happening till the n vectors. But resultant at last will be the first tail to the last head. That will be the resultant. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That is what I wanted to say in this. Nothing
Yes,
more.
sir.
Other than that, whether we should take components or not taking components, don't worry much. Whether they should
Sir,
give angle
here
or
you
they
gave
should-
one example, no, sir.
This example.
Left side.
Yes.
Sir. In that, you told that cos 60 along A I cap. You told, no, sir.
You tell me, if I draw components of B, what will be the x component? What will be bx? You tell me now, because you already know trigonometry. So you can tell me what is bx and what is vy. Tell me. This total value of this is 4 unit.
Yes, sir.
You know that it will
Vx
be
is
4.
equals to 4 sin
Bx
60.
is equal to 4 sin
By is
60,
equals
sir.
to 4 cos 60.
This by side just opposite. Vx is equal to 4 cos 60 degrees
4 cos 60, sir.
and vy is equal to 4 sin 60. You know, my students, there are some students who have this problem always. They don't know when to take cos and when to take sine. They have this confusion. You know what I tell them? I tell never take sine. This is also a rule we can follow. You can also follow it. Never take sine. Always take cos. But take cos of which angle? The angle which the line is making with the corresponding axis. For example, what angle the line makes with the y-axis? It makes 30 degree angle.
30.
Then take cos 30. What angle this line makes with the x-axis? It makes 60 degree angle. Then take cos 60. No need to worry about sine. Why we take sine? Because this cos 30 itself becomes sine 60 degree. Okay. So if I want to write the component along y-axis in terms of angle which is not made with y-axis, then I have to put that sine term. But if I want to write component along y-axis in terms of angle which is made with y-axis, then do I need sine? Then I don't need sine. Then cos of 30 is enough. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Let me
Okay.
tell you one thing here again. Wait a second. I think I did not explain that here. I could have explained it here itself again. See, direction cosines. These tell us the direction of the vector. What is A representing finally? A, we got AX upon A was equal to cos alpha, AY upon A was equal to cos beta, and AZ upon A was equal to cos gamma. Observe, I'm not taking any of these things as sign because alpha is the angle with x-axis, beta is the angle with the y-axis, and gamma is the angle with z-axis. When I take those angles only, then I never have to take sine term. This cos term will be enough for me. Now, once you know this thing, then you can write A as A cos alpha I cap plus A cos beta j cap plus A cos gamma k cap or not? Means it is same
Yes,
thing
sir.
only AX.
It is along x-axis, y-axis,
Huh.
and z-axis. No, sir.
What is A cap? You know what is A cap? Yesterday I told A cap is a vector divided by its magnitude. It is a unit
Yes,
vector
sir.
along A. It is unit vector along A. So if I do that here, if I divide this by A, then you notice A will cancel one A will cancel second A, and A will cancel the third A. What we are left with? Just cos alpha I cap plus cos beta j cap plus cos gamma k cap. Is that fine? Okay.
Yes, sir.
And what is the square of A cap? You know that magnitude A cap is 1 unit magnitude. It is of magnitude 1 unit. Because it is of magnitude 1 unit, if I take its square, I will be getting answer as 1.
1.
Right? Square of 1 unit will be 1 only. But what is the formula for taking magnitude? How do we take magnitude? If I have to take magnitude of any vector, what do? I square and sum and take root. Then I get the magnitude. So I have to square and sum and take root. Then I will get the magnitude of which vector? Magnitude of unit vector. This is magnitude of unit vector. But I have already squared both sides. If I square both sides, then what I get? Cos square alpha plus cos square beta plus cos square gamma is equal to 1.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Why we call these as direction cosines? Because these represent direction of vector. These tell us actually how the vector is, in which direction the vector is pointed. Okay, so these are called as direction cosines. And what is the sum of square of direction cosines? That is equal to 1.
1.
Okay. Understood this?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Right. Next, come to that place again. So those who are confused that whether we should take sine angle or cos angle, take always cos. But take corresponding for corresponding vector, corresponding component. Bx will be b cos of what angle it makes with the x-axis, cos of alpha. By will be b cos of what angle it makes with the y-axis. If it is beta, then
Cos
b cos
beta.
beta. Same way. Here, what angle it makes with z-axis? 90 degrees with z, because this is lying in xy plane. Then it is making 90 degree with z-axis. Then cos 90 will be
1.
0. No,
Sorry.
cos 90. What? By? Oh my God!
0.
If you don't know trigonometry, you can never understand vectors also.
Cos 90
And
0.
Sir,
This
I
was my
confused, sir. It's confused. Sorry, sir. I
first
know it.
warning was, okay, no problem. But my first warning was that not only you should know sine 30, sine 60, but you should know them so fast that somebody, you're sleeping also, suddenly somebody wakes you up and suddenly asks this question, what is sine 30? And you should be quickly able to say it is 1/2. Means we should be very fast also. Okay, then only you will understand these vectors also properly. Is there some boy talking in very low voice to me? I'm not able to hear, but I'm hearing a little bit. Anyway, triangle law. What is triangle law? Triangle law and parallelogram law, these are same only. In triangle law, we just represent by this triangle. And in parallelogram, what we do? We draw the entire parallelogram. There is not much difference. In fact, I don't need to learn this law. I don't need to learn this law. I don't need to learn polygon law. I need to understand common sense. Common sense says this, that if I have to add vectors, then I have to arrange them in proper order. I can arrange in this way. Now you observe it here. Is it even a polygon? Is it a polygon? It is not even a polygon. But even then, this law is still valid. So main thing is, main idea is that arrange in such a way so that head of one. Noise. Head of one is connected to the tail of second. Head of second is connected to the tail of third. head of third is connected to the tail of fourth. Just keep this thing in mind and find initial, then take initial tail to the final head. That will always be the resultant. Okay, diagrammatically we have to do in this way. How to do it in diagram? In diagram we have to do it in this way. And how to find out the actual magnitude of this? We have no way. What we have to do? How to find out magnitude? I have to take the axis. What axis I will take? I will prefer to take axis along any one of the vector, so that this vector will make 0-degree angle with this. Then others I can find out what are the angle made by B, and then angle made by C, and then angle made by D. Once I know all these angles, then I can resolve into components. Once I am able to resolve into components, then we can get the answer. Okay. Null resultant example. Null resultant possible or not? One vector this side, then this side. Observe, we are starting from same point, coming to the same point. Initial and final point are same only. Then what will be the resultant of such vector? 0. Resultant of such vector will be 0. So it will be a null vector only. Another example, take a triangle and these 3 sides of the triangle, if taken in all in same order, then resultant will again be 0.
Sir, one show that parallelogram law, sir.
This is parallelogram law.
Okay.
This
sir.
is resultant here. This is the resultant. This one. Okay. Resultant of which vectors? A and B. Okay. But this A and this A are same. I can take this is also A vector and the lower A is also A vector. Similarly, this left side B is also B vector and right side B is also B vector. Okay. How to add these? Let us say somebody asked you to add these vectors. How to add this? Diagrammatically, I want to add. Don't worry about getting a numerical value. Diagrammatically, how to add? First of all, I cannot arrange these. I cannot add these in this way because they are not arranged properly. What I need to do first? I need to arrange them properly. What is the meaning of proper arrangement? Arrange in such a way so that tail of one vector is connected to the head of other. Now C will come to the head of B. Now these are arranged properly. Once these are arranged properly, after that I need to make a line.
Sir, we
which
can form
starts-
triangle, sir.
Yes, we can form not a triangle. There are already 3 sides, but we can form a quadrilateral. You want to form a quadrilateral? We can form a quadrilateral if you want. Then I will take C that side and I will have to bring B this side. And I will be getting here resultant as taken in opposite order. What will be the resultant? This vector right here is resultant. Let us call this vector as whatever you want to call it, maybe R. So this is how we get the resultant. Now notice one thing here. You may think answer will depend on how we are arranging. It will not depend on how we are arranging. I could have done the way I was doing before. I could have taken C this side and I could have taken B that side. Then also observe, are we still getting the same vector or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So resultant will remain same. It doesn't depend in which order we are adding. In one case, in one of the cases, I added A first and then B and then C. And in another case, I added A with C and then B. But in both cases, I got value as same resultant R, same vector finally. So whatever order I can choose, actually this is called as what we call it. We call it as commutative property. Commutative property means that in vector addition, we can shift the terms. We can switch the places. If we switch the places, the resultant doesn't change. That is what we mean by commutative property. In normal addition, it is true only. We know already for a normal addition, is it true or not?
Yes, sir.
Addition and multiplication,
Yes,
it is true, sir.
For example, if I say 5 plus 6, 5 plus 6 is equal to 6 plus 5. So it is commutative. But understand, it is really interesting that here also this property holds, because this thing is not like a normal addition. Here we are adding in a different way. Here we know I can add a vector 3 with vector 4 and I can get result 5. In fact, if I add vector 3 with 4, I can get all results possible from -1 to 7. Minimum I can get which is equal to 3 minus 4, and maximum I can get which is equal to 3 plus 4 if I have 2 vectors. Why I can do that? Because the third side of a triangle will always be less than the difference of greater than the difference of the 2 sides, and it will be less than the sum of the remaining two sides.
Yes.
So resultant therefore will always be, if I have a resultant of two sides, resultant of two vectors, then the resultant of two vectors will have magnitude which will be greater than the difference of the magnitudes and less than the sum of the magnitudes of two vectors. I will come to this point, I think, later on also, so don't worry much. This is simply called as triangle inequality. Now, whatever the case may be, whichever law you want to follow, no problem. Whether we have two vectors or more vector, whether they are arranged properly or not arranged properly, doesn't matter. Our method of resolving the, should be vectors here. It is vectors. Our method of resolving the vectors first and then adding will always work. For example, if I have R vector, I want to get the result. I have A vector and I have B vector. I want to get the resultant. Examiner has not given me the x and y axis. I have drawn this x and y axis here. Okay, examiner has given me what? He has simply given me two vectors. As I told you before, I will prefer to take one vector along one of the axis, so that one angle will automatically become 0 degrees. What angle A makes with x axis? A makes angle 0 degrees with x axis. Other axis I will take perpendicular to x axis. Now, can I resolve into components of for B and for A? What will be the value for A and what will be the value for B? A will become A along I cap because this whole vector lies along I cap. Can I write it as A I cap?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
What
sir.
I can write?
I can write
B
sir.
vector as B I can write as B cos theta is along I cap. Notice this is along I cap. But Y component is along J cap.
JK.
Means here what I'm doing, I'm splitting B into parts. One part along x-axis and the other part along y-axis. Splitting into parts means taking components. I'm splitting it into two parts. I can just replace B vector by these two. Oh, what has happened here? I can replace vector B by these two vectors. That is what I have done here. I wanted to add A with B, but I can, instead of adding A directly with total B, what I can do, I can take the components of B and then I can add. That is also same thing. We can do that, right? Actually, this I am using one
Sir,
property.
someone is posting messages to me, sir. Please send classroom, Google Classroom code. He's saying he's
Class-
disturbing me, sir.
Classroom code, I think I will send for everyone. That is already in WhatsApp group, no?
Yes,
If somebody
sir.
else is joining who is not belonging to, I think, Sri Chaitanya, then I cannot send the classroom code, obviously. And I'm not allowed also. Management does not allow me to send the classroom code separately here. That we cannot do. Okay. So for the timing, can you disable the chat?
Yes, sir. I have disabled, but yes, sir. I'm
Even
disabled.
if we disable, we can message to the hosts.
Oh, they can
Now,
disable
okay,
Want
the
sir.
to
That's why
disable
he says
that
it.
one also, sir.
I have disabled, sir. No one can.
Okay, okay, fine.
chat
Fine,
also.
fine. Do that then. Okay, right. Next. Next we have, so, okay, this property is actually, there's a property and I just use the property without telling what that property is. If I have a vector, let us say one vector is B1 vector and B2 vector. Let us say these two vectors I am adding with vector A. Then I can do this thing. I can take A plus, I can add these two together first. I can get the resultant and then I can add with B. Or I can do this thing. I can take A separately and B1 separately and B2 separately. This will be same thing. This is called as associative property. I can associate any two of these together and I can make them into one and then I can add. If I do that, then also resultant will be same. And if I dissociate, again I break into two components and then I add, then also resultant will be same. Resultant doesn't change. So the laws of vector addition obey associative property. Therefore, I am able to do that. I am able to split it into components, B cos theta I cap, B sin theta j cap, and then I can add these. If I add these now, what do I get? Take I cap components together. If I take I cap components together, I will be getting A plus B cos theta I cap, right or not? A plus B cos theta I cap, and separately B sin theta J cap. What is the resultant now? This resultant is, let us say, X component of the resultant. What is X component of the resultant? This whole is X component of the resultant. This is Rx. Rx I cap plus Ry J cap is equal to this. What is resultant? Rx square plus Ry square under the root, which I can write as this. You understood how I wrote this? Just take Rx square plus Ry square and write it here. After that, I am taking B square cos square theta plus B square sin square theta, and I am getting B square only. So finally, resultant of these vectors comes out to be A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta. We are getting this resultant by what method? By our method of resolving into components and then that adding that. Therefore, this method is called as this method they call it as they obtain this result by parallelogram law of vector addition, or sometimes they obtain this result by triangle law of vector addition. But why I did not use the triangle law and parallelogram law to obtain this result? One reason is this, that it is given in almost every book. So what is the point if I tell in the same way? And more important reason is this, I want to tell you this thing. This is important. Whatever the case may be, there may be two vectors or more, arranged properly or not. Our method of resolving the vectors first and then adding them will always work. So trust this method, and you don't need to know any laws. You can find resultant of any vectors, whether there are 2 in number or 3 in number or 4 in number. If I just remember this formula, it will not be of much use because it is applicable only for adding 2 vectors. What if somebody is asking me to add 3 vectors? If somebody is asking me to add 4 vectors, will this formula work? Obviously, this will not work then. Okay, I'm not saying that you don't learn this result. I'm not saying that you can learn it, because it is also many times we use it. Many times we have a case where we have to add just 2 vectors only. In those cases, obviously it will be useful, but it doesn't mean that it is so much useful. It is that we can use only this and no other formula we need. That is not true. Okay. Next, we can now this point, we can add vectors easily, and we can find the resultant of any number of vectors provided. Provided means, but we should know what is the condition. Condition is we should know how to resolve the vectors into components. So here I thought that I don't want any loopholes to remain in your understanding. Again, I came to this, although I have already resolved many times, but I'm telling, if I have to resolve a vector A along a given line, then what I need to do, I need to know the angle between the vector A and the line, and I only need to write it as A cos theta will be the component of vector A along the line. Whether this line is x-axis or this line is y-axis or this line is z-axis, that doesn't matter. If the angle between the line and the vector is known, then component along that line will always be equal to just A cos theta. Just remember that thing. If angle made by vector A with the line is theta, then the component of the vector along the line will be A cos theta. Properties of vector addition. Here I wrote the properties now. One is commutative property. I already proved it before. A plus B will be equal to B plus A. Right? A plus B will be equal to B plus A. Associative. Do you know how I proved it? You remember or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
I
sir,
proved
yes.
it before. Associative property. This also I did not prove it, although, but I just told you that it will be right. If I take A plus B plus C, A plus B plus C taken together will be equal to A plus, it can be proved easily actually. If you want, you can prove it easily.
Sir, if we take examples, it can be proved easily, sir.
It can be proved very
Yes, sir.
easily. So I think no need to waste time on this, or maybe let me see if I have one more handout is here that I have taken from internet only. In that they have drawn the diagram already. So let us not waste time. See this example. Associative law. This is A, this is B, this is A plus B. This green vector is what? Green vector is A plus B. So I can add A plus B first, and then I can add C in that. Then resultant will be A plus B plus C. Or I could separately take A, separately take B, separately take C. Then also resultant will be same vector, A plus B plus C. Or I can add B plus C. Here they are adding B plus C. I can add B and C together to get B plus C. If I take B plus C here and add A with that, then also I get the same resultant. Okay. So in one case, they are taking A plus B plus C. that is equal to a plus b plus c. In another case, they are taking b plus c and adding a with it, then also we are getting the same resultant. So finally, this resultant remains the same. Resultant does not change. This is our resultant. This one is resultant. This one is resultant. This one
Sir,
is
someone
resultant.
is raising hands, sir.
He wants to ask something. You can ask it. Unmute yourself and ask.
His name, sir, we have chemistry class like that he kept, sir.
Oh,
What?
3 o'clock. Okay, okay. Sorry. I was not aware. Right. Today your class is very short, it seems. No problem. I am sending these
Yes.
notes. Try to read the notes. Some things you will understand from the notes also, because I have really elaborated this properly. The remaining things I will be explaining tomorrow. Okay. So it is
Okay.
Sir,
urgent for you.
Sir,
Yes.
when do you keep the notes in the Google Classroom? Time.
Now today I will try to keep it after 5 o'clock. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, right.
Sir, which
Okay, then.
app are you
Sir,
using,
yesterday I
sir?
asked
Yesterday.
doubt on maximum minima, sir. You will say on class you said, sir.
I said I will say in class, but now you are reminding me when already class is over. Now you can do one more thing. Now, because I'm not able to stay in the class, do one thing. After 5 o'clock, give me a call. I will explain
Yes, sir.
separately to you. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, right. Let us end
Sir,
it now.
which app are you using, sir, for this?
I'm using Notability. It is used in
Okay.
iPad. It is.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then let us end it here now.